Hi Devorah, thank you for uploading your pictures. Pushing forward, doing really well. Excellent, really impressed. Okay, let's jump in. So this is your picture of the third. I'm trying to place the subject on the third. Is it a third? Maybe. So yeah, you have to really work out the issue. I see the issue. Composition is that it's touching the edge here, which is a different thing. But what you really need to do to work out if your subject is on the third is you have to assess your subject to find out where the middle point is, because you would think, well, this is the middle. However, because this branch, let's have a look with a. So our subject is like this, which means there's kind of more over here. So I would think that the center of our subject is just a little bit over. Basically, in short, you've done fine. Okay, just remember, keep in mind that this rule, the rule of thirds, is really a real rule. And when we say a third, we mean a third, not a quarter or not halfway between a third and a half. Okay, great. Okay, here we go. Perfect, well done. Good demonstration of focus. Here you are focused on the kettle, which is closer to you than the dish in the background, and over here you're focused on the dish in the background. So in both pictures you're demonstrating that fine. That's great. Okay, this is just getting used to the idea of cropping in close, which you have done perfectly. And not only that, what's really good here is, I speak to this about everybody, is in regards to a face, our point of entry is the eyes, okay, which we can see here. Now, what happens to our eye once we've entered into the eyes, so to speak, is our eye moves downwards, okay? The direction of a face is down, which means when we're taking a picture of a face, the eyes should always be above center of the frame, okay? When I say always, we can break the rules, but the rule is, we're allowed to break the rules only once we know the rules. So, the rule is that the eyes should not be in the center, they should be above, exactly as you've done here. And this is a perfectly balanced image. Our eye has room to float down, and then we get bored and come back, and the image just is unified and balanced. Excellent, very sensitively done. That's a great shot. Okay, into space. Excellent. This is a lovely balanced image as well. Very good. Generally, people do this with a landscape orientation, but this is completely acceptable. And our point of entry is here, coming around this way. I think we're coming around this way. Basically, we have enough room here to breathe. She's on the third. The point is, this is a really good example of the third, because if we look here, let me just do freehand. Our subject is like this, but we've got some energies moving this way. Okay, so now when we do our thirds, that's a third, that's a third, something like that. Okay, so our subject, even though she's slightly off of a third, because the energies of our subject are moving in this direction, you've actually nailed it. Okay, so this is perfectly balanced, excellent picture. Great, great. Okay, also well balanced. This is this is already the photo shoot. 1 second, we're into the photo shoot. Okay, fine. This is the photo shoot. So now, okay, the stats you're going to change as you go forward. You'll see that these stats are not helping create a great picture, but you'll learn in the next couple of classes how to deal with that. In regards to just compositionally, again, you're demonstrating a very sensitive experience of the image. This is great. We've got a lovely, let's just show you here, 1 second. Okay, a strong, clear triangle, leading lines, taking us into the picture, which means we're going to our subject, who's over here. Okay, this way is where you can understand. the underlying geometric structure of the composition is very strong here. This is lovely. The light on her face is not good. Okay, this is something that you're going to get sensitive to. It's quite a high level to be aware of this kind of thing. If you had moved around, which would definitely compromise your composition, if you moved around and the light fell just on her hair and not on the side, because right now the light's coming from the side, if you moved around in this direction, the more you move, at one point the light would be from behind. So that's generally what we're trying to do. Okay, this kind of light is considered messy light, and it doesn't help our subject look beautiful, or it's not very complimentary. So we want to try and avoid light like this, where you see splodges of light falling on her nose and then ugly lighting scheme over here. We generally want a uniform light, okay? And the easiest way of doing that is getting out of bright sunlight, okay? But I do appreciate the pose. I love the fact that her arm is lying here like this. It leaves her feeling very very relaxed, easygoing. Her legs crossed, that's always a great idea for women. And the perspective going back into the background, excellent. Like I said, stats wise, you could make this picture much better once you, in the next couple of classes, once you understand what was going wrong over here. Okay, this is great. Okay, we're slightly overexposed, but it's not the end of the world. The vignette, I'm assuming you're using Picasa for the vignette. The goal of vignetting, excuse me, a second. The goal of vignetting is that you shouldn't know that you've used a vignette. Okay, so that's a very obvious vignette. When I use a vignette, so you vignetted here as well. It's a little obvious. It's not so bad, but here it's very obvious. Here it's it's slight. It's good to be vignetting everything, but I think I'll show you in the in Lightroom like more the direction you should be going in with vignettes. Okay, this kind of image, which is kind of there's a lot of energy here. There's a lot of tension here. I would definitely be going for a landscape crop. And please keep in mind a rule that is basically unbreakable: cars do not belong in pictures. Unless it's like a gorgeous Ferrari or something like that, cars do not belong in pictures. You have to make sure that you get away from... I wouldn't be taking this picture because of that car. I would, if I was going the other way. Whatever it is, you can always work out a way. But cars do not add anything to pictures, and generally they take a lot away. So be careful with cars. It's a drop overexposed, but you could fix that in Lightroom. It's a nice picture. Again, I like the pose. You've got her to pose nicely. It's nice. It's a nice shot. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, this is great. This is cute. So these kinds of pictures, I'm definitely into this kind of thing. The issue here, though, is this leaf is very dominant. It's a very strong shape and it's very bright, so it actually pulls your attention away from my eye. These kind of pictures are meant to be that all of this stuff becomes just kind of decorative. Okay, it's just to add colour and contrast and texture, etc., and shapes, but it's not meant to be anywhere like in your mind, so to speak. So that's kind of didn't work out so well. If that leaf was darker or a little bit turned so it wasn't so obviously in your face, I think it would make a big difference. Her eye needs to be edited in Lightroom, needs to come out a little bit more. What I would be thinking of doing in a picture like this would be to crop in very close, because the eye really is what it's all about. Like I said, this leaf just is a bit too much in your face, but the eye is what it's all about. So by cropping in closer, you end up, so to speak, making the eye bigger, a larger part of the image. But I definitely appreciate doing this. This is great. Okay, this is nice. This is good. I think we could crop a little bit of the bottom off here. She's beautifully posed. This girl has what's called a high PQ, which means physical intelligence. She's very good at posing herself. It's not always as easy as that, I don't think. But I would definitely be thinking about cropping off from the bottom here. Okay, something like that. Again, the vignette is too obvious. keep the vignette much more subtle. Even in Picasso, you can also do it more subtle than this, but that needs to be just. You'll fix it for next time. Just tone down a little bit so we don't see. But this is a great shot. I love the symmetry here. I love these hard lines. Her pose is beautiful. That's a beautiful, beautiful strong triangle, and contrasted against these horizontal lines, which makes for a really exciting composition. Even this door in the background, all these leading lines in here, really excellent. This is really a great composition. The patterns and the lines and the shapes and everything come together to create a very powerful image. I love this picture. Excellent. Again, you'd be able to, once you understand stats a little bit better, you'll be able to improve it with some different stats. But this is excellent. Excellent photography. Give yourself a pat on the back. Okay. Here, this is the same example. This isn't a great picture. This is the same idea of this messy light. Okay. You have to be careful with this. Again, cars do not belong in the picture. I still appreciate your attention to the tensions and the balance of the image, because it is balanced. She's turned a little bit inwards towards this side, so our eyes moving this way. But like I said, it's very difficult to see past the messy light over here. That's something you will see for the next shoot. If you just come all the way round, yeah, then from this side, then you'll understand that the light will end up kind of behind her head, and it will just give this nice rim light as opposed to this very messy kind of uncoordinated light that's not very attractive. Okay, let's take this picture into Lightroom. This is a great shot. This really is a great shot. Okay, so one thing that I want to do is I want to all this stuff here. Now we're looking at it, I'm not even sure if it was the right crop that I did. I think I would take a little bit less. Like this. One of the things that I do appreciate is that you've straightened it perfectly, which is very important for an image like this. Now what I want to do is I want to emphasize our subject. So we've learned there's always two ways of emphasizing our subject. Number one is emphasizing our subject, and number two is de-emphasizing everything else. So let's use our paintbrush, and I'm going to press O so I can see what I'm doing. Get rid of all the effects. Okay, now once I pressed O, it means that everywhere where my paintbrush is going to be red, and that will just show me where my paintbrush is, and then afterwards I will choose my effect. Okay, so we can see now that I've really covered around her. We've splashed a teeny bit on her. You do not need to be super precise generally in Lightroom. Okay, now, if we drop down the exposure a drop, and I think to put up the clarity and also the saturation. There we go. The vignette has become it's a little heavy there. Let's see what happens if we put the saturation down. No, I think we're going to go with a little bit more saturation. Okay, and I want to add my vignette as well, just to balance the bottom. This is one of the nice things about Lightroom over Picasso, is the vignette tool is just so much more sophisticated, but it's difficult to get away from this. Okay, I think I would also like to just very delicately soften her. By dropping my clarity down a teeny little bit. And I think we are going to add some more energy to the lines using our clarity, just again to kind of pull us in. Okay, a hair a drop, line over here. Okay, let's have a look. I don't know if we improved it, to be honest. I don't know if we improved it. I don't think we did. All I would rather do is just get rid of a little bit of this heavy vignette, make it a little bit more subtle. But it's a great shot. This really is a great shot, and this you can put in your portfolio. I think that was worthwhile seeing, how sometimes we go and try and do something in Lightroom, and it's best to turn around and say, you know what, I think it was actually better at the beginning. I think we're going to go back to how it was. I think the crop definitely did help. Let's just have a look where we see that. I don't think that isn't the right thing. There we go. I think we'll leave it like that. Okay, excellent. Great work, and looking forward to seeing what you do for us next week. All the best.